Hi, gorgeous. So in this week's reading, the feminine steps into a full realization of this huge, what I will call twin flame love, in a way that's never happened before. And so that's really beautiful. Thank you for supporting me and giving me the space to share this with you, because it's incredibly beautiful. Thank you so much. See you in a second. Hi, gorgeous ones. Wonderful to see you, feel you, however this works. Just one thing before I start that I need to say. Anybody that has booked an 11/11 reading that hasn't received it yet, please can you email me by replying to one of the emails that you've received, because there are just a few people that have been missed and I need you to email me. So thank you very much. If you've emailed me already, don't worry. But yes, there's just a few people, but I needed to get that out. So we're in September, which is interesting. August feels a bit like a dream right now. For me, it was a very strange, very challenging month. Very, very challenging. Not in terms of circumstances, but in terms of my experience. A lot of expansion that just takes a lot of rejigging. So it's a lot of rejigging and moving around, which can feel quite scary sometimes. And yeah, very interesting. But I do feel that there is the kind of shift into this expansion. I'm already feeling it in September. I visited a family member of mine yesterday evening, and you know, people that aren't necessarily exposed to the kind of ideas that and understanding of the world, you know. And I'm not just talking about mystical, I'm talking about what I would kind of call free thinking, or even though it's kind of impossible because we're all so connected, but it's just that it's viewing things from a really kind of authentic place. So it's that the world may be doing one thing and the world may say this is normal, it's normal for you to do this, but it just doesn't feel that that's not your truth, you see. And it's being questioning, basically, and it's questioning those norms. And I feel as though it's happening, like it's just moving more into the mainstream, that people are kind of letting go of their laziness in terms of completely disempowering themselves by giving responsibility to the government or to their partner, you know, like it's your fault, or to their children. Even if I didn't have the children, then I would be able to do this, you know, or whatever. And they're realizing that if things aren't quite as they seem, then you can't just blame other people, you know. You can't, well, because it's essentially a smokescreen. It's not really real. And so this is kind of interesting because I can feel as though it's shifting, and what's going on in the political landscape is kind of indicative of that, in that it seems a bit kind of nonsensical, you know. It's as though our idea of reality is being stretched, and that overall is a good thing, because we can then understand and tune in to the more intuitive, what some might call mystical things, which are actually happening all the time, but we're just not aware of them because we're distracted by other things that we believe to be more real. And so I'm very, you know, kind of bolstered by this. Also, in a national newspaper in the UK where I am here, there was an article about tarot being the new therapy, you know. And I find it is extremely therapeutic. Sometimes I feel as though I don't want to you know, not carry on. But I find the tarot a bit, I have to say, it feels a bit heavy, as in, like, it feels a bit, there's a lot of attachment in other things to it, you know, like, I use it in a certain way, but people might just, there's fear around it, you know, there are other kind of attachments that people have, like even to the word or the concept. So it's interesting that that's shifting too, that people are understanding that it's an extremely useful tool, and really it's just some pictures on some cards. Like, there's nothing, you know, it's just some cards with some pictures on it. But again, like everything, it doesn't mean anything until we, you know, it's an instrument. It's like a violin, you know. Anyone can pick up the violin and give a go, but it's maybe not going to do much or sound that great or really be of much use. But then there are some people that really know how to use this instrument in a powerful, beautiful, expansive, creative way. And that's what I hope to do in everything, not just in this. So it has been a little bit, I don't know whether you have experienced, you know, a bit of a strange August with all these kind of eclipses that went on and all of this, but certainly me and the people in my environment that are sensitive, that are what I would call energetically sensitive, that are, you know, tuned in and take responsibility and for their own feelings and their own vibration, you know. I feel as though those kind of people, especially high vibe people that are used to being in a very high vibe place, have been feeling a bit disjointed, or a bit as though they're not feeling so great. What I want to say about that is that's because we've expanded into a new place, something even better. So we have to get even more skilled at finding our highest destiny, because it's grown so fast. The analogy I used with a client was, it's like you're 5 years old. It's a bit like Big, you know, the movie Big, where he's 12 and then he suddenly becomes 28. So it's like, it's scary, because, you know, it's great because there's so many more other things, but it's also scary. And also, you might not even know. It's like you've become 28, but you don't realize, you don't understand why things aren't operating in the way that they usually do. And it's because you've expanded, you've become so much more. And this, for me, is what happened during August. But for a lot, as I said, it felt kind of heavy, as though it was a negative place. So if anybody's been experiencing that, for others, they would just not have that, you know, they wouldn't have experienced that. They just, you know, keep on their trajectory. And I know that there are people that have just been experiencing that as well. So it's been a bit of a mishmash, but I wanted to just share some of that perspective. It feels nice to be in September, and let's see what the cards have got to say. Interesting. Bottom of the deck is the Five of Cups. So this is all about perspective. This is a really, really big message. This is probably the first time in a while that we've had what we might call a kind of negative card on the bottom of the deck. So this, as soon as this came out, I knew what it was about, though. It is about this heavier energy that's maybe been going on, or when we're feeling kind of negative. It's that if we focus on what we've lost, we're going to miss the opportunity to experience the love that is here. I feel as though there are a lot of people that have been feeling kind of broken by love at the moment, as though they've lost faith in the concept of love itself. Because this card, it shows up, the Five of Pentacles is kind of similar. It's a card, also the Four of Cups is kind of similar. It's a bit like there's something great here, but you're not seeing it. You have to kind of shift your perspective. But the reason why I think this is turned up in this Five of Cups here is because it is specifically about that love, about that emotion. And this Two of Cups, the Two of Cups whilst I was shuffling before I started to record, was there are a few reversals in the deck, which I'm not a fan of, I think people know. And the Two of Cups I noticed was the first one that I noticed that was upside down. And so it wanted to say something, you know, it was highlighted. And that, how silly of me, I'm like covering the Two of Cups there in the picture. So the Two of Cups is there, and that's kind of what I want to say. The Two of Cups is there, but it's that you have to turn around. And there is this message, it's like, keep the faith, keep the hope, don't lose sight. And it's not about the person, and it's not about attaching to the person. It's about love itself. If you believe in love, don't allow your experience, even in a moment of a person, or even another person or another relationship, or even your view of the world, to stop you from having faith and believing in love. Because it is always here. Always. It never leaves. It's just, if you're completely focused on this, that's your world. That's the world if you just look at that. But it's there. You do just have to turn around to see it. I understand that that can be really challenging sometimes. But you don't even need to turn around. You just need to know that it's there. It's a really, really important message for everyone that's involved in some kind of, well, I'm now, you know, it's so difficult because I work with lots of different people and I feel into lots of different energies and lots of different connections, lots of different relationships. And people like to, there's all these labels, and it's so difficult to kind of pinpoint on what you want to say. But I do feel like I'm moving into some clarity, and I'm going to be launching my own, I'm in the process of launching my own site so that I can share these things, because that's what I want to do. That's where I want to put it. But I'm not even quite into the clarity of it yet. So in terms of, you know, twin flames and then karmic and then soulmates, and there's all this material around. I went to a bookshop yesterday to buy a book, just intuitively, you know, to go in, to just see what was there. And what I thought I was going to buy is not actually what I bought in the end. But I ended up doing a lot of searching and looking, and I had a real look at all the kind of books that exist, you know, across mysticism, the esoteric, spiritual, everything. This is the most amazing bookshop in London. It's over 100 years old. And it's just confusing, you know. There's just so much out there. This person says this and this person says that. And even on YouTube, same kind of deal, I'm guessing. You know, it's like you speak to this person and that person, and then this person has this thing to say about this name and this term. But really, it is just about love. And that's why I like to call it unconditional love, because that is always what it is. And there are different levels of connections. And in terms of being together, I have to tell you, it's not, one thing I can tell you is it's not that when you become most conscious and most aware and most loving that you get to be with that person. When you clear all your energy and you become like this, and you get to be with that person. It's not. Because the way that I understand it is a frequency, yeah? It's a frequency, but it's not important that you know what that is. But for some people, to be able to live in harmony with that person is a higher level of what I would just call conscious awareness than other people. So you might have people calling themselves twin flames in union, and that doesn't mean that they're not in an unconditional love and it hasn't been challenging. But they could very easily be as what you might want to call like a lower level of conscious awareness or freedom, or it's I know this is kind of a little bit, it might be a little bit controversial to say, but in my work, all I can share is that I meet people that are really operating at a very, what I would call a very enlightened level. And yet they still are not in a relationship with, or in a partnership with the love or the person, you know. People, it's not that simple. It really isn't that. And that's something that I want to kind of like maybe gift the community with. It's that it's not like some work you need to do and you get to this perfect, clean, beautiful place and then it's all easy. There's always expansion. It always becomes more, and it's really just about being in love, and that is the focus, and being yourself and experiencing freedom. Because, and you know, it's the mirrors. It's a mirror. It's people are mirrors that show ourselves. And this is what this is all about. And so, yeah, I just wanted to share that for some reason. That just came out. So masculine, feminine for this week, beginning, what is it going to be? September the 4th. So that's exciting.